teams. But W7M, we saw those performances earlier, Sam. We saw what they could do.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the biggest thing for me, with W7M just coming off an incredible victory on Border up against BDS, where we saw the entire roster from head to toe performing at a crazy level. This is going to be another chapter, more than likely, in their book here of victory at this event. Black Dragons just so happens to be the enemy this time around on Nighthaven Labs, and we're going to get quickly into the ban phase here. Buck going to be removed from Black Dragons. Thatcher going to get taken out by W7M, and already some interesting antics being taken on by both of these teams.
Thatcher ban?
Yeah, not very common nowadays.
What year is this?
2018, apparently.
Thatcher ban on Nighthaven Labs? This is like, it's like everything's mixing. All the timelines are congruing all at one time. That's not how you use that word, but we don't have to talk about that. Buck and Thatcher ban is actually pretty cool. Like, just really like some OG bans. Like Buck, I feel like back in like 2020 used to be like, oh my God, they banned Buck. Just because like it wasn't something that happened often because of the soft destruction, the nades at the time, and of course the C8 being a very powerful gun. Could see it happen. The defensive bans, I don't think you and I need to talk about that much. We got Azami, we got Fenrir, makes sense. Azami, one of the most common ban defenders, period. On Nighthaven specifically, helps you defend Warehouse a whole lot more on the site we're going to go to, Command Center on the top floor, and then Fenrir, similar story there.
Yeah. If you don't know these at this point, Carter, I've got a bridge to sell you.
Yeah, exactly. Or you should just go do your homework, because you're missing out on a lot of context for things that are probably going on here. But the Buck and the Thatcher, because when I immediately think of the Buck, I'm like, oh, all the soft destruction on second floor, on first floor. But typically for that reason, we see a lot of teams ban the Deimos instead.
Yeah, 100%. And usually this is something that I would expect out of these two teams, honestly. Black Dragons and W7M really like to get in the face of their opponent, especially on offense. Deimos, a fantastic operator for that. But this might be one of those circumstances where both of them like it so much, they just don't want to remove it. But we'll just have to see. We didn't see it all that much from W7M earlier on today on Border. I believe we saw it one time. But doesn't mean that we can't get a lot of it here on Nighthaven Labs. This map is much bigger. There's a lot of info game that goes into this. You're more than likely going to be seeing a lot of Deimos, a lot of Dokkaebi, a lot of Lion, and what do you notice? Loben, very first thing off rip, Deimos will come out to play here for the Bulls.
I'd give it to him, in all fairness. I would give it.
Out of all of them? Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Loben, Dodes, and Volps, you got a lot of good contenders here. Maybe not Volps, because he's a bit more of a passive player in comparison to the other two, but
yes,
you can make a compelling argument for all of them. Very low Selma hole, very low on the wall as well. I'm going to assume that was intentional. Generally, the rule of thumb, always assume that something was done for a reason. But I'm curious as to why is that low. Can see the feet hole into connector. But either way, let's talk about the defenders as well. We've got Clash coming out very early on. Very good for the second floor because you might have an IT connector push, might have an IT garage push, an Aqua push. You have all these pieces that can get netted together by the attack at a moment's notice. And what is great for that? Clash, who could just walk around and shock at any point of entry once you realize where the attackers are coming from.
Yeah, she's an immovable object with a stun gun on her. So definitely makes things a lot less fun for the offense, but something we'll definitely be happy with. Gudo gets eaten up by a creative angle here from Dots. Upside down rappel here for the catwalk door will find the first kill, and W7M will start off in the green here in round one.
Also like that small detail, but on that upside down rappel, you can see Gudo running the laser sight. Nice shot from Volps, yeah. Gudo was running the laser sight, oh not Gudo, excuse me. Dots was running that laser sight on the upside down rappel, and he was aiming to the left of the door just to make sure that he didn't reveal his position on the rappel from anybody playing inside a garage. Small thing, but you do appreciate it, just that level of care. This round is not very close so far. It has been a 5v2. Loben not even with the deathmark tracker. He's got all three of them right now. He just made that hole with the revolver early on to see if anybody gets too aggressive inside of electrical, and honestly, that's a really good bet. Think of all the people that actually tried to play where Florio is playing right now. Got flashed, air jab going in, will just barely escape it, but gives Dodes the confidence to now take this position, take this aggressive line against the Clash. Nux with a double kill right now, but that's all he'll get as Loben on for two as well. to be the final bit of the puzzle for W7M in that round. I know they lost it, but Nuxka did have a pretty good game earlier against D+. Kia could be important as that player, he's been very poor for Black Dragons this stage, poor at this event, but if he's having a good day, sure they lost this round, but will be something that Black Dragons appreciate.
Yeah, somebody's got to be shooting, and it looks like it might be Nux potentially. We'll have to see if that continues to raise in value throughout the remaining rounds here of Nighthaven Labs. But fortunately enough, the first round looking pretty spry. As for the rest of the team, though, not so much. But W7M getting creative in a lot of different ways. Those upside-down repels eating at Black Dragons, just not prepared for that off-kilter angle, let alone that little break in the floor that we saw there from Lobin for electrical. That's one of those things, Carter, that you never really consider when it comes to that verticality. There's just so many holes that you just get used to walking over the top of these things, and all of a sudden somebody's occupying this space. He gets that free pick there, and they practically blow the doors off of Black Dragons in the first round.
And like I said, when you're on the defense on the top floor and you're trying to find a way to regain that man advantage, one very common way is to play close and electrical and see if anybody hops in the window, gets too aggressive, and forgets to drone you or just forgets you're there entirely. So for Lobin to open up that hole right there, it's not exactly the easiest angle. You know, I don't know how the exact line of sight works. Maybe they're able to crouch beneath it. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, it is still looking over towards that position and can counter anybody trying to bring back that 3v5. So just good foresight from W7M, or good use of an angle that maybe the defense had made. We don't exactly know, but it went well for W7M either way. Bottom floor defense all the way to the basement now for Black Dragons. Whole lot of breach and plant denial for them at the moment, though with the castle I imagine to allow for some extensions.
Might not be too big of a deal for W7M to deal with that either, as they do have things like Ash, you have things like the boogie drums from Ram, and if you do really want to get creative, I guess you can use a torch, but hopefully not. If we boil down that far, that means that W7M has had a very serious issue. Something cataclysmic has dawned their shores, but looks like the only thing that's going to be happening in the first moment here is Dash, and a little bit of a skirmish that ends in 0 damage dealt to either party.
Decent performance from Dash earlier. Didn't go positive, but again, as the lowest performing player on the stage, just even slight, that is a ballsy reinforcement. Just even a slight increase in performance can really make a difference if the rest of the team is still performing at the echelon they've been performing at. Late reinforcement, as you likely just saw, to shut off that rotate and allow for a bit more safety to play over by the cargo stairs. And W7M will say, okay, well, we'll just open up garage hatch for free and likely try to set up for an Animus plant, I imagine.
I just want to know what Dots was doing there. Like, I don't know if he was trying to make sure an Electro Claw wasn't going to get put down or what, but definitely a little bit of a risk there with that angle. And speaking of risks, Nux, I mean, I hate to say it, man, we just don't need this. We don't need it.
It's also, I think, you know, just credit to Dash for taking credit or taking advantage of the opponent. Just like, oh, I'm going to smoke and then back off. And he's like, yeah, I'm just going to push
Walk through it, yeah, get that fight there. And I mean, we see it time and time again in multiple FPSs. Plant now going down, too, for Dots.
Yeah, Dots is putting it down. Another 5v2, 2 rounds in a row for W7M, and it's going to go off completely uncontested. Hornet about 50 HP. Well, not about 50 HP. He's at 50 HP. Percent of winning that round is a lot low, but low 50%, if we are being honest with ourselves. And these have been 2 pretty much uncontested rounds for W7M. I mean, what do you even do at this point? Every single mag in Hornet's guns have been completely wasted at this point. Flawless round for W7M. I mean, we had, I don't know how many people survived at the end, but it felt like a pretty much flawless round all the way through. 3 at an absolute minimum were alive for W7M. Now you have a straight-up flawless. I would be shocked if we just see a straight-up tack timeout from Black Dragons this early on. I
was going to say the exact same thing. That's exactly what we're going to get. They have got to stop the bleeding. And it's always crazy when we have to start talking about this at the beginning of round 3, right? But that's where we are. W7M are playing a completely different game in comparison to Black Dragons. This is minor league versus major league baseball right now. And W7M is definitely the Dodgers.
And Nux literally, yeah, so yeah, it had to be only 4 people alive from W7M at the end of each round, because Nux got a kill on the first one and Nux got a kill on the second one as well. So it is, there are 2 kills for Black Dragons. Nux, yes, has both of them, but it's still only 2 kills for the team so far. It's just as dominant a performance as dominant can be. W7M have played passive early on, waiting for Black Dragons to swing. It got them that first round, and then when it came to actually getting aggressive, they pushed the smoke, or Dash pushes the smoke on cargo stairs, do the same thing to some of the defenders on the side, just flood in afterwards once it's a 2v5. 2 a bit of different playstyles or approaches to individual engagements. that so far I've just our credit to the overall success that W7M have had through these first 2 attacks. I mentioned that this map is a decent for both of these teams. Black Dragons played a lot over the course of this stage so far, mainly in the open qualifiers, and you do just play a lot of games down there. But they're 6-1 so far. W7M on a 5-game win streak. It's good for both. You wouldn't know that watching these first 2 rounds. No,
definitely not. And the wildest thing for me, at least so far, I know it's decently early on into Nighthaven Labs here, but this is the map that we saw Black Dragons beat Furia on to make it to this event. Yeah, it was inside of that little best of 5 there that we had, and I'm pretty sure this was the last map that we ended up playing.
What? Oh my God, was it?
I'll do some research as we work through this 3rd round, but I'm pretty positive that this is where we ended up.
See, because it's funny, because I think W7M also played Furia in that series as well. Because W7M also played Furia, and they got that 8-7 in the playoffs. So I'm like mixing like a couple different matchups right now.
Yeah, for Furia, it just keeps coming down to Nighthaven Labs, and funny enough, that's what won them a hammer this year.
You got to stop playing that map.
Yeah, but you got to bump the brakes, buddy.
There's just like all the magic got used on that one map, and ever since that, well, to be fair, they did have that magic and that 8-7 victory inside of the regular stage. So maybe do keep playing that map, but be real specific when you bring it out. Anyway, beside the point, 40 seconds in, W7M looking to attack this top floor again. We got the same thing going on. This is almost exactly how they got, I believe, either the 1st or the 2nd pick was...
Both?
Well, what do you know? Almost got it again as the Mirror decides to face check the Mav line at the top of the wall. Oh, Ass, gotta be careful.
Whoa.
We got 2 people on the garage door, 1 people in IT. I'm really not liking. They better win this fight because W7M are ready for this when we hadn't even played around yet, and they're ready for it again right here. No kills break their way. Instead, it is just IT breach opened up as Hornet keeps looking to challenge these players outside.
Thatcher be damned. W7M ban them out. They want to see if Black Dragons can do the dance as W7M is with their Maverick. Getting these walls open, getting those nice torch lines in, and having that supporting unit has worked so far for them when it comes to gaining access to IT, and it'll happen yet again here. He's more than likely going to stick around as he will just be managing this situation that we have going on in this space.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, you never like to hear that tape rip when you're upside down, do you?
He has been maving that wall for about 1 minute 40 seconds. He was kind of begging them to do it at that point. Nux also the C4. Oh, wow, exactly. What a shot from Dash. Oh, but the reload. Thank God he hit that pre-fire.
Oh!
Shotgun also around the corner. Loban looking for more inside of the site. He's just pushing for more. Gonna try to pinch and cut off this Mute's complete path of egress. The Mirror not aware. Ask tagged to low HP. Move deeper into garage. No diffuser control, by the way, for W7M. Volp's by himself. Oh my God, they are swarming onto this Monty. Full shield, he will back up as far as he can. Mirror going outside. Oh boy, they won this kill. What is happening right now? To eventually make it out, Loban will stab one in the back and look to pre-fire the second. What a crazy-ass round for W7M. They come away the victors 3-0 right now. What the hell just happened?
Carter, that's one of those moments. I've said this a couple times today, but there's moments in time in Siege where you have to meet your opponent in the trenches. You have to meet them in what they're doing, and that round, utter calamity, man.
I have never been more confused trying to make sense of a situation when I see Loban on the pistol shooting above and behind the Clash right next to her. I'm like, who am I watching right now? Who is this?
That was definitely pretty discombobulating. I will most definitely be forthright with that. But hey, somehow, some way, although it's messy, although it's not a round that even makes sense to the human eye, W7M still come out on top.
Literally look at that. Like, what the hell is going on?
I think my favorite part about that entire round there, something that's more concrete and something we can definitely talk about, their capability to completely circumnavigate electrical there. That player sitting in there, that SAS op, Mute, I do believe, sitting there, dancing back and forth with those 2 players. The Ash just steamrolls into the site and starts taking fights with absolutely everybody.
It's Loban. What do you expect?
Hey, I didn't say it, Loban. It wasn't me, okay?
What? I'm complimenting him.
I mean, that's true.
Who's gonna make the play like that? Listen, Volps is great, but he's a bit of a slower player. He's gonna hit that gap in the early round where nobody's watching. Loban just shot a guy in the face. He's like, I'm going for more.
That's true, but I guess I'll be the one to say it. Loban's he's kind of on his freak stuff right now, man.
True.
He's kind of moving.
I mean, this game so far has been, well, it really hasn't even been that weird. Like, that round was kind of strange, but I mean, Black Dragons got 3 more kills than they did before, but they've still only got 5 overall between 3 rounds. It's been pretty good for W7M so far. A little bit on the IQ, moving down below. This is a first floor defense. Warehouse and security being defended at the moment.
Honestly, I love that from Loban as well. They're going to get the IQ in downstairs, folks, to try and prevent any Nitro Cell play from persisting and making it to where they can potentially roll back through and prevent this plant. So Loban's going to be here for quite some time. As soon as they recognize that Black Dragons may not apply themselves in that way, Loban will just go for the late flank instead. Past that, W7M will be building up on this top floor to get control of IT and try and get a plant here inside of barrels.
Oh, here we go. Just immediately laying into that Warden. Oh, that's so smart. Throw the Yings, wait for the Warden to activate his glasses, then hunt him down on the inside. That is actually brilliant from W7M.
They don't get the plant, though.
Guy with the diffuser's dead, though, so that's a bit of a problem. 3v3 especially, as it's a multi-length hop-out from Black Dragons. As Ass Peak's garage, there's just a guy there. Volp's hopping in to fill that space. And all that good work from BD now doesn't seem to matter a whole lot. Volps is a bit alone right now. Not a lot of players covering him, but he gets that diffuser down immediately and hops back out expeditiously.
That's a round.
Yeah, that seems to be the round at this point with Volps close, somebody up above, and I imagine the IQ can work her way around as well. Flashbangs go in, he tries to stick it, but he's right in front of the window. 4-0 right now. Remember, Black Dragons have used their tactical timeout.
Yep. We
cannot take a pause button. This momentum that's building for W7M is just going to snowball and snowball and snowball at this point.
W7M looks so comfortable against Black Dragons, man. Every single thing that Black Dragons try to apply, W7M is standing there in stark contrast of it.
I'm just going to highlight it again.
What's up?
How many setups do we see on that site? Because so many teams go for the Ying Candela rush into that single window, the guy holding out behind that box is the Warden.
Yep.
How often do we see that it is like that position filled by that specific operator? And for W7M, a team who I said, by the way, going into today, I was like, their individual performances are great. Coordination, ideas, not often the best. This has been a completely, like, one of the best forms of W7M we've seen so far. Not that they've ever been bad, not that they've been completely uncoordinated.
It's just that the mechanics are more highlighted.
Exactly. It's just they've, frankly, a lot of the times, they just win the games off the mechanics. They don't necessarily need to be that sharp.
Exactly.
But to have that idea to throw in the Ying to bait out the Warden, a very common position for most teams on that strat, and to take him down through the floor with the IQ, really, really smart stuff. Loban now 5-0 so far.
And the craziest thing about that, too, is we're getting to the point in Nighthaven Labs just time inside of the game, especially in a competitive setting.
About a year in the pool now.
Yeah, where people know a lot of the verticality. Where else would you put a buck if he was available? Downstairs to break up that flooring because that person's probably going to be sitting behind that barrel, right? But instead, they put the IQ in, and what do you accomplish? You accomplish so much with that. So what a call from W7M to put Loban downstairs and have that direct counter to the Warden based off of those Candelas pouring in. It's just so very well done.
And if you have the Deimos too, you know, obviously they can fight back through the floor, but also that Deathmark track makes you a lot more antsy. You get a lot more nervous. You're not just going to swing through the glasses like we saw right there. Man, I really love it when the play happens. You can just break it down for 2 minutes. You don't get a lot of those. It really just have a lot of meat to it, a lot of layers. So I do really appreciate that. I mean, you do get it semi-frequently, but it's never shown quite that clearly at times. 4-0 right now for W7M. Dowd's back on that shield.
I was going to say, that's the biggest thing, right? A lot of the more nuanced things about Siege where you can really break things down into a crazy moment, that's where it's more VOD review time, not really casting time. So we don't really get that luxury usually on the desk. But as Carter said, one that is so in your face, we can't ignore it.
And speaking of in your face, Ask looking to play aggressively on the Exo stairs. We'll get that drone. It's the little victories at this point. Monty moving in saying, "Oh, if you thought that was nice, wait until you get low to the full shield.
Round two.
That'll be at the top of Exo stairs." There he is. Second impact grenade already used. C4 blown very early as well. So important bits of utility falling for Black Dragons early on. Very quick retreat aside from Gudo, as you can see, still playing on the top of the stairs, but Black Dragons, whether it's strategic or demoralization, they are not looking to take fights with W7M.
Not in the slightest. And honestly, can you blame them? Every single skirmish that we've seen has ended up being W7M favored, and so far the war is pretty one-sided. 4-0 in favor of the Orange. as they will continue to prosper, more than likely on through round 5. This round is looking pretty good. A minute remaining. You've got dots inside of EXO here. It's just life is good, all things considered. Even that, I mean, yeah, sure, but you're still down to 30 seconds remaining once that fire clears.
Ooh, yeah, but you're down to 30 seconds, but I thought we had opened the breach. Based on all these positions, I had kind of just assumed we opened the double breach, but even though Dota has 2 Selmas, both impact EMPs from Loban have been used, they do not have this angle to watch the normal plant dots is going for. So he's actually in a really tricky position, especially with 2 Nitro cells still on the board.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. I didn't clock that either. The only thing they really have here, Carter, is going to be that verticality to try and assist and hopefully some hot guns behind this shield.
I just don't think they're winning this off the plant at this point. You've got to win this off kills. We'll put the Valkyrie to 1 HP. Hornet gets the first pick, though. That's so big for Black Dragons. This could be round 1 here, even though it's a 5v4. Make that a 5v3 with Ass getting in on the action. Loban looking, hunting with that secondary shotty, but he's not going to find anything. Diffuser's on the floor. Yeah, this has not been a great round for W7M. Black Dragons will get there first, but man, oh man, whatever was happening on that breach, it was not going well for W7M.
They didn't bring the utility to dislodge the, electrified portion there.
Thatcher band.
Yeah, exactly. That was really it at the end of the day, man. And Thatcher definitely would have ended up helping them out there, but they just did not have the stuff to be able to break through. Obviously, they have the Selmas, but nothing to back that up, and a little bit of mismanagement in that regard will definitely not go unpunished as Black Dragons pick up their very first round off round 5, which they seem a heck of a lot more comfortable with, all things considered. So hopefully this is something that they can build upon here, especially going into our last round of their defense.
It was a 4v5 with like 7 seconds left.
Yep.
Appreciate the coach trying to get the Black Dragon spirits up. Also saw some cheers after that, but definitely with that 0-4 start, how dominant it was. I think it will take a little bit more to really get back into the swing of things. Must-win round, in my opinion, right here for Black Dragons, and for that exact same reason. Not only to get a 2-4 half and just stop the 5-1, which is such a daunting scoreline, but just to get your head back in the game. Just recenter yourself, show yourself you've got this available, that you can actually do this.
Oh, Lord. We're bringing it all out, man. We're just like, oh, last round? All right, ring the dinner bell. It's time to play.
He wasn't even trying to go for a kill there. He was like, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Yes. I did the spawn peek, and I went back inside.
And I did not die.
Did not die.
Did not die.
Just to remind yourself that you still got it in you.
Got that dog in me. Might be a chihuahua, but it is a dog.
Now, speaking of Gudo, very small performance from him so far, though. A player that can pop off in really big moments. Ask and Hornet have been the anchors for this roster throughout this stage, but Gudo on the LCQ, highest-rated player. Speaking of, by the way, I was going to address this literally next, and Volps decided to make me address it right now. Double shield, the lineup from W7M.
There's nobody downstairs.
Volps has immediately sprinted on in with nobody down below. Dots just sticks the plant and just barely gets away with 1 HP. You have the Blitz to create space, and then the Monty to follow up with the plant behind it. Bit of an awkward position for him right now. I don't know what the Monty can really do in this post, and now that he's outside, but it is going to take a lot of time, and likely can't pressure those people on IT. Loban goes in for the kill, and Black Dragons not the advantage. Dotas hops back in, but Dots is in a really bad position right now. C4 around the corner. Nux can just get this defused. Nothing he can do about it. Yep, the time will go. 2-4 for Black Dragons. Hopefully the momentum going back their way, as it was looking real rough at the start, but they claw back just barely under a tie game.
Yeah, we've done a lot of praising of W7M throughout this half, but this is definitely a round that is pretty bleak, especially as they get the plant down, Carter. They over-deliver. You cannot overcook a situation like that. I don't know why we have all these players trying to fly in through the, IT space upstairs as well as garage, because it's a pretty patient Black Dragons inside of the post plant, and they get the majority of the kills, a whole swath of them, in fact, and they completely flip the script on W7M. It cannot be understated, folks, how unbelievably difficult the post plant of this bomb site is, especially when you're able to get that plant down around that window. But Black Dragons, they get it done in a very convincing way, just all off of what we saw right there. W7M getting a little over the top with their delivery at the last moment inside of that post plant, and it ends up going awry.
4-2 half still certainly good, but I'm just glad for Black Dragons. It really felt like we were trending towards 5-1, 6-0 territory there. So getting away with a lot, even if it is only 2 rounds, just for the sake of the momentum. Immediately putting Nux back on the Blitz, the main shield player for Black Dragons. He's had a Bit of shaky success with it so far this tournament and in the regular stage of Brazil overall, but still a powerful operator that Black Dragons do like to bring, and if anybody's going to bring it, it will be Nux. Ask on this Nook, 1 in 5 so far. You talk about important players. Ask has been unbelievably important for Black Dragon's success. Getting to this point, the highest rated player more often than not in any given game.
Yeah, you ask me if Ask is important, and I will tell you, yeah, 100%. Now, he's been that player for a long period of time, not only for Black Dragons, but also for Liquid. A lot of different ways that he delivered for that squad as an IGL, trying to bring that prowess to Black Dragons, and it's worked out decently so far. Not exactly the numbers inside of this game, but he's a heck of an IGL, I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, and the main way he brings value, specifically in round for his play, is often not necessarily playing Nook, but doing things you would expect the Nook to do. Trying to find gaps, trying to get aggressive in their face. Well, that didn't work. Volps unfortunately finds Ask pretty quickly as he tries to go in for that flank. Loban, ooh, drone goes around the corner and missed drone. Come on. We had the momentum. Now Hornets down by a C4. No.
Carter, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. It's okay.
No.
We're going to get through this together, all right?
Help him, please. Get him back.
That's why we commentate in duos, because we need the emotional support, folks. Sometimes you just can't make it out alive without that, but fortunately enough for Black Dragons, they will get Volps, and they will be able to pick Hornet back up. This is getting a little bit easier, although it does still feel as though it is an insurmountable task, especially with the positioning of W7M, but Loban, he's going to miss that. That's a dead man walking as Florio breathes in everything he shouldn't. Vape's hitting a little bit too hard.
Oh, 2v2. Okay, hold on.
With a blitz, too. No drones, though, all except for Hornets.
I'm actually gonna dial in for a second.
Wait, real shit?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, this has been a very strange round. We had missed drones, we had a smoke flanking and throwing a toxic canister, then leaving. To be fair with how low Florio was, good move.
True.
And Hornet very low right now, but with the 2v2 and the blitz being one element of that, this is very close. The only concern I have is, if you want to go for a defuse plant, how are you going to do this? Do you want to give it to Hornet, but he's so low? But if you want to go for Nux to put the plant down, Hornet's also low, but you really want that blitz to be going in and creating chaos. You still have that smoke canister from W7M.
Not about the plant here, Carter. It's all about the kills.
Oh, yeah?
That's what they need. They need to try and get these kills here. You don't have a plant angle.
Oh, he pushes in, but that Vulcan pack's still there. Ends up getting the shield knocked back because of the flames, and so Dots can finish him off. Hornet will throw a nade in, try to rotate around. W7M, just don't get antsy. Don't get antsy. Okay, you're standing still right in front of a hole. That's not antsy, but that could be rough. But
just stay alive, Dash.
This Dash is right around the corner. Should and indeed are okay. Very, very close. 1vx for Black Dragons. Definitely a lot of individual mistakes throughout the beginning of that round that puts that in a difficult spot for anybody to claw back.
That's just an odd one. And that's my biggest gripe with W7M right now, my friend. They go to the casino, and they just keep winning until they start losing. They never back away from the table, and that's really what I want to start seeing out of them. Once they get that huge advantage, just leave the cards where they are, man. Just bring it back to sight. Force your opponent to play your game. Instead, what we see is W7M getting caught off in a lot of these different situations where they're like, oh, it's an easy means to an end. I'm just going to pop the verticality. I'll take some fights around the stairwell. I'll probably get one and then be able to go off quietly into the night. But no, instead, we get a lot of risk, zero reward, and Black Dragons potentially getting back into a round that they never should have been a part of.
Yeah, I agree with that. I literally thought when Loban threw the impact down, I was like, oh, okay, I guess. I mean, go for it if you want. But then, yeah, when you get shut down, it's just like, could have just gone back to site. You could have had, you know, Dash rotate back down, then Loban rotate to the top cargo. You play that trade right there to get the 4v2 if Loban dies. But they overheat a little bit, and it does come down very close, and Black Dragons ultimately do end up losing that round. And I think you could see Ask's frustration there. One, because they're down 2-5. The other, because he's walking in and either he was not droned or was ahead of the drone or something. But the intel on dining right there was just not there for Ask, who was the entry in that position. Then you have the Dokkaebi unfortunately misdroning somebody bought house. And the intel game, despite being active, is just missing all these important pieces for Black Dragons. 4 drones, they're already down, by the way, as we enter or move into 35 seconds in. Down a Twitch drone as well, I believe, or at least maybe they're both put out already. Who knows? But on a dining defense, You want to get this Blitz active. Adrenal Surge goes in. Blitz immediately goes through the window. Hornet will pick up one. Blitz in a bit of a difficult spot. Bit of an awkward position with that C4 flying over as well. It'll deal a lethal blow to the Blitz. That's why you have the Monty. Beautiful redundancy as he domes the idle Scopos behind the shield in sight. Sloven will need to rotate back. Clash caught with gun in hand. Gudo caught just counter swinging on all of these different angles. Hornet finding another. And it's a 2v2 as we move into the post, but with the Monty, that is going to be a huge bonus for Black Dragons. Hornet, the gun behind him, might not have any nades, but can boost them back to HP once they take damage, and the Monty can keep these remaining players at bay. Volps, one shot. Lobin, reduced HP, and very, very far away from the attackers and the diffuser by extension. The very little tools, aside from this one impact that does only 6 damage, and they're not able to land the spray as they get from behind that shield. Hornet from the vertical angle will pick up the remaining 2. Very quickly, Blitz play into the kitchen, and Black Dragons with another one of these must-win rounds.
Yeah, it's almost like in this last year, we have, across the entire globe, figured out that this site is pretty trash, Carter.
It's not great.
There's a real reason for that. There's a
not
hatch
good.
outside you get immediate access to unless the defense actually applies a reinforcement to it. You do have the time to do that at least. But the other thing is this kitchen window that you get immediate access to, and if you shove a Blitz through and nobody's paying attention, they just get all of the frags. You need a little verticality upstairs, and past that, it's easy, breezy, beautiful, and around for Black Dragons.
And since you're hopping into that window, obviously, you know, there's Freezer to the left, but if you've opened that hatch, you know that nobody's playing there, so you know one angle to your left is completely safe. If you drone the immediate window on the opposite side of that vertical angle where Hornet was playing, you also know your front's clear, so you only have to worry about your right. So you're feeling perfectly fine to actually push into the site itself, go for that diffuse plant. Of course, you still have to actually deal with the anchors there. But yeah, the immediate entrance is very, very easy to achieve, and even if you want to go for a normal style execute, if you're able to take control of office up above with the vertically, then open up the breach usually with a thermite from the actual house wall to the site itself, you still got to deal with a lot of angles, but again, it's another very, very easy way into the site. We'll have a bit of a tech pause, as you can see. Black Dragons bouncing back after that loss in round 7 with a very quick rush in round 8. Despite losing that Blitz as he was making that space, they were able to get the diffuser down very quickly, and Hornet just setting up in a very, very nice position. It can be a bit of a difficult shot to hit on that boost angle. Yeah. And you can tell because Hornet never died.
Yeah, 100%. Nice little head peek there. And that's the other thing. I mean, when it comes to that site, the Blitz gets probably the most work done there, although he ends up going down. He just creates so much space and so much chaos that W7M never really respond properly, especially with the fact that Black Dragons were able to work in through lobby like that, get the Monty in there, and all that active play in from that space. They never really abused the verticality because they didn't need to, Carter.
Yeah, the thing about the main time we saw double shield from W7M, it was the Blitz moves in to create space, but then the Monty uses the shield as cover to get the diffuse plant down. But we didn't really see a lot of that kind of like hammer and anvil plays between the Blitz and the Monty from W7M. It was really just like a safety for the plant kind of thing. Yeah. But there you do see the Blitz going in, pushing all those people back, and then the Monty immediately coming in from the side and, again, hitting right into those people that the Blitz had just pushed closer to his direction. So still different philosophies you can go with these shields. It's one thing that going into the shield meta, you know, take a team like FaZe, for example. Vidiking, one of the best Montys in the world. He does not play Monty like that. Nope. Not really how he ever likes to play that shield. It's not the way he was good with it. It's the way he positioned the pieces around the shield and the way he specifically, when he was extended, could move when he was in that position. But if you notice, FaZe don't really play a lot of shields now because you just play them differently than you did before. You can play the Monty if you want to, but he's not sprinting at people like Nux did or Black Dragons did last round. Nux will be back on the shield this go around as it's a top floor defense. They are looking to open up the ITU on the connector wall early on. Don't know how that happened, but just the IQ.
Hornet was like, you know, they got us with it, you know, a couple times.
Guys, that was really good. I should try it.
Yeah. Except 9 times out of 10, when you're the one showing the strat, you probably know how to play against it.
Oh, God. Down to 3 drones. Not even 2 minutes left.
Wait, hold on. The HUD is giving us a few back. Don't worry.
Why have you done this to me? Why have you won?
Let's see what's actually on.
I actually think the next one got shot, so it might be gone again.
I think there's only 2 that are active right now that they can actually use. So.
Point being, they don't have a lot of drones for 2 minutes left.
Yeah, very true. Very big issue as well. I mean, I don't know how you're actually going to get through this round, at least in the current moment. Mine is trying to get Monty in and getting some plays active around him and hoping that potentially a lurk works out.
I mean, we can see right now, W7M are mainly anchoring on this site. You got quite a few players around IT, one player Aqua side. The fourth might be a bit of an unknown variable. I don't actually know where Dotas is. He was playing in Garage. I believe he's in the site itself. Yeah, he is. That's the outline of the Frost, I can tell. So all 5 people on this top floor at the moment. Loban, I believe, over in House. So getting this Monty into position is good. Will allow the rest of the team to get an IT. Man, that is rough. Dash just ratting inside of IT. You don't even care that you got traded there. You took down the Monty. Not Diffuser, but still a 2v4 as Florio gets that trade, and it's just too late given the efforts that have happened. Separated by IT, Ask and Florio will try to coordinate something out of this 2v4. But W7M spread almost evenly across the side. Love that pre-fire by Ask right there. Very common position to hold behind the bomb chassis. It'd be a difficult shot to hit as well. So moving into Aqua, there's only one player over there. It was the Warden, as you can see, still right there at the moment. I think he has a mirror window, actually, watching into the site. Florio pushing deeper, hits the pre-fire. Player and connector spotted, C4 ripped. You gotta be careful, tagging up Volps this low. They're reaching a point where if he's able to get this kill, Black Dragons might be in a winnable position, will blind the Mew, but he still swings. That timing is ridiculous from Volps. With like 2% of his sight, he somehow manages to land that kill. Ask has been the main one to try to open up this late round. He's got to recover the Diffuser. But it's a 180-degree crossfire with a mirror window staring his way. Opposite side, that does him in, but now W7M on match point. Black Dragons keep getting these brief moments of momentum before it is snuffed out by the Bulls.
Yep. And you got to feel for Florio there, man. Falls for one of the classic blunders, my friend. Throws that flash grenade, not aggressive enough to get in front of him. And I respect it. You know, he's got that shotgun. If he just blasts that thing at the proper time, you're dead.
I'd be scared too.
But did not play it on good enough timing where he's still blind when he does go for the peak, and he ends up dying because of it. There's just that little dance that you have to do in a moment like that. But hey, that's the thing about SAS ops, folks. That's why we reference them all the time. That M5